Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the next Michel Corboz box. I promised it was coming, and here it is. Now, the first one dealt with largely early music up through the classical period, through like the Mozart Requiem and thereabouts. This deals with stuff that came later, from Beethoven on through the Romantic era. And I have to say, first of all, it's smaller. It's 36 CDs. Corboz made his reputation doing earlier music, and a lot of marvelous early music, Baroque and late Renaissance kind of stuff, including lots of wonderful Monteverdi and other goodies. This is less interesting, I have to be honest, because the repertoire is more familiar. I mean, it's really just that simple. And in this box, we get into that conundrum that I did a whole separate video about. Remember, there was a separate video about why so many choral conductors are less than interesting as orchestral conductors. And as time went on, the orchestra played a greater and greater role in realizing the aesthetic success of performances of this music of the Romantic era. And so Corboz is up against, first of all, very, very stiff competition, and also against his own small, minor weaknesses as a conductor of big, romantic, ostentatious, flamboyant works. Fortunately, he's not doing like the Berlioz Requiem, but, we'll see. Let's go through this, and we'll see what's in it. There is some marvelous contemporary stuff. Actually, it leads off with that. So it's what do you got here? 36 CDs, right? Yeah, 36 CDs on Erato. And there is some rather cool stuff here, I have to say, that may make it worthwhile for you. Some duplication and a little bit of, less interesting material kind. First of all, you've got all these lovely original jackets. And the very first thing here is really quite marvelous. It's Frank Martin, or Martin, or however you want to pronounce it, Frank Martin's Golgotha, his oratorio in two parts for soloist, mixed choir, orchestra, and organ, based on the Evangelist and writings by St. Augustine. Well, that's a whopper. It's really a beautiful work. I like Frank Martin's music. It seems to rest on the edge between tonality and atonality, between ancient and modern, and it balances everything so well. This is a wonderful performance. It is not conducted by Corboz. He was the chorus master for this performance. It's an earlier recording, 1968, I guess. And then there is La Vie l'Emporta, a chamber cantata for alto and baritone, choral and instrumental ensembles. And here we have Corboz conducting. And this is really a valuable release in the Frank Martin discography, because there just isn't that much. I mean, considering what a good composer he is, especially of his choral and vocal works. So yay, that's worth the price of the box. Well, maybe not quite. Then we have, of course, a Fauré Requiem. There are two of these, by the way. This one is with Alan Clement, boy soprano. Philippe Utenlacher, remember him. Philippe Corboz, organ, got to be related. And let's see, and the chorus prepared by André Corboz, and the Bern Symphony Orchestra conducted by Michel Corboz. A little nepotism going on there, I would say, right? And Stravinsky's Les Noces in French, which is nice to have. Now, Stravinsky detested the French translation. He hated it so much that when he recorded it in his edition, he did it in English, because nobody was going to sing it in Russian in those days. So this is kind of a novelty, and it's fun to have. And so the conductor of this, by the way, is Charles Dutoit. Corboz, again, is the chorus master, and Dutoit is the conductor. So, I mean, that's, it's early Dutoit also. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And then we've got, now he's actually conducting with the orchestra and chorus of the Gulbenkian Foundation in Lisbon. And it's the Puccini Messa di Gloria, very early and fun-filled Puccini piece. It's charming, and it's nice, and it's got William John's tenor and Philip Hutenlocher bass, and, the Lisbon people. Nice to have. This is a lovely disc. Brahms motets and the Marian Lieder, which are absolutely beautiful. And these are all of his songs for chorus. And Brahms was a wonderful writer for choir. That's what he did for a living, remember. He directed choirs. And he knew the choral repertoire as well as anyone in the universe and wrote very, very lovely choral works, which don't get played. So this is a valuable disc. You've got his Lieder, Opus 62, and the Lieder in Romance, Opus 93A, some of them. A few German folk songs, one of the Abschiedslieder, and it's just lovely. The Marian Lieder, just gorgeous. That's the high point of this. I mean, the motet, Warum ist das Licht gegeben den Mühseligen? Or whatever. I don't know. I give up with this stuff. Mozart Requiem, Ellie Ameling, yay! We just talked about her. Barbara Scherrier and Louis Davos and Roger Sawyer and more Gulbenkian people with Corboz. It's okay. It's good. I mean, no one does a bad Mozart Requiem, do they? I mean, really? And it's lovely to hear Ellie Ameling. It's fine. Now, this isn't choral at all. It's Christian Jacotet harpsichord doing 3 Haydn keyboard concertos with the Ensemble Instrumental de Lausanne under Corboz. This is fun. Nice to have. A little novelty there. And Haydn's Theresian Messe, also lovely to have. This is with the Lausanne Forces. A nice performance. There are now, it's done on period instruments, and Leonard Bernstein did this. It was a knockout. Okay, maybe not the most exciting in the world, but very nice to have. Mendelssohn's Psalms, beautiful works. Mendelssohn's church music is always spit on and scorned because it sounds, too Mendelssohnian, I suppose. Mendelssohn had very strong ideas about what church music ought to be. And his idea was that it should be pleasant and spiritual and not too adventurous. And he's never been forgiven for that, but it's beautifully written. And he's a very sincere Lutheran. It's lovely stuff. So we have his Psalm 42 and Psalm 95. And it's you don't find this stuff very often. So again, the value in this set is more in the works that are less common, not really in the works that are common. Mozart, the C minor Mass, with Valerie Masterson, Christian Baumann. I'm not going to mention all the casts and all these things. You don't need to know, really. And this is with the Gulbenkian people again. And it's nicely done. It's pretty. More Mendelssohn Psalms. 11598 and his Laudación in Latin for soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, choir, and orchestra. Major work. Serious work. Deserves to be heard. It really does. I grew up hating all the Mendelssohn choral music that I'd never heard, of course, because I was told I was supposed to. And then I started listening to it, and so much of it is just very, very beautiful. It really is. Schubert's Stabat Mater in F minor and his Offertorium and Magnificat. So that's cool. This is really worth having, don't you think? It's just beautiful music and very nicely sung. And we have the Haydn Stabat Mater, which is an incredible masterpiece. It really is one of his great early works from the Sturm und Drang period, or the outset of it anyway. It's got like a big F minor moment. That's how you know it's Sturm und Drangy with Haydn, like the Symphony La Passione, which I just talked about in F minor. Anyway, this is really beautiful. Beautiful performance with Sheila Armstrong, Anne Murray, Martin Hill, and Philipp Hutenlocher. Again, he was very busy with Maestro Corboz. So that's good, worth having. Then we've got Mendelssohn's Elijah in German, which, what can I say? Either you like Elijah, and St. Paul for that matter, or you don't. I prefer it in English because I'm English. Some may prefer it in German. It's a nice performance. It could be more exciting. Let's not kid ourselves. It's an oratorio-ish performance. You want it to have a little bit more pizzazz. And Corboz was not sort of a pizzazz kind of guy. And then we've got the Fauré Requiem. This is a beautiful performance with Teresa Berganza and Joseph Van Dam and the 4 motets on Gregorian themes for a cappella choir. Lovely, lovely pieces. A beautiful performance. Absolutely lovely. So that's well worth having. Next pile of stuff. Okay, Brahms' German Requiem. There's a million of them, right? Do we need this? No. It's in the box. You get it anyway. Consider it a bonus. It's with, let's see, Britt Marie Arun soprano and Robert Hall baritone. And let's see, the Danish Radio Symphony and the Danish Radio Symphony Orchestra Choir. Yes, under, you know who. Not the most exciting. What can I say? I wish it were more so, but it ain't. Then we've got Mendelssohn's Paulus, St. Paul. Ugh. It's very pretty. Yeah, okay. I mean, when I listen to it, I like it. I really do. I mean, it has beautiful stuff in it, and then I just never want to listen to it again. And that's me. Other people will like it much more. It's Mendelssohn's answer to the Bach Passions. It has chorales and things in it, and so I suppose that how you are going to respond to it may depend on how much you like the Bach Passions, which I can also do without. But anyway, it's got Rachel Yakar and Birgitta Baileys and Marcus Schaefer and Thomas Hampson. I mean, some very serious people here. Natalie Stutzman's in here, and this is with the Gulbenkian folks again. And if you like that sort of thing, knock yourself out. What can I tell you? Then we have some other Mendelssohn. This is Christus, a piece of an oratorio that he never finished, and Psalm 55, and which I think was already there, and some more church music, and Psalm 114 and his Te Deum, and other goodies. So there you go. Rossini, the Petite Messe Solennelle. Oh, I love this. In the original version for two pianos in harmonium, with the Ensemble Vocal de Lausanne, beautifully sung with Cecilia Gazdia, Bernarda Fink, Vincenzo La Scola, and Francesco Albero d'Artegna. I love this piece. I don't care who does it. I just think it's wonderful. No matter what you do to it, it's amazing. So I'm very happy that this is here. I really am. And I enjoyed it. It's great. Now, this is really fun. This is two French liturgical things, Gounod Messe Chorale and the Sanson Mass for four voices, which is really great. These are rarities, and they need to be done. And it's the kind of stuff that a box like this, it justifies the box. Beethoven, the Mass in C, a good performance of the Mass in C. It's people like it, some people don't like it. I think it's kind of a cool piece, actually. And Mira Stille und Glückliche Fahrt, the fabulous cantata, which is 6 minutes long and a little bit. A lovely performance, just absolutely lovely. It's not period instrument, it's not, but it's not bloated and odiose is the word, right? Oh my God, Schumann, the Requiem for Mignon and the Mass in C minor. This is great. This is the kind of stuff, like I said, that makes boxes like this worth having. Are these great Schumann works? Frankly, no, they're not. Are they bad? No, not at all. They're just not, what we usually think of as Schumann-esque, particularly. And whether you like them or not depends on you. I mean, I'm happy to have them because I like to take out unusual works by major composers every now and again and listen to them, and you want to have an easy reference. So it gets the job done. Next up, more Mendelssohn. Actually, the Mendelssohn in here is like one of the real reasons to have the box. It really is. You have Die Erste Walpurgisnacht, which is a masterpiece. Fabulous cantata on a text by Goethe about pagans beating up the Christians over the question of, pagan rituals. And it's just so much fun. And then we've got this cantata, this choral cantata, O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden. Not looking at this. And then there's a Kyrie in D minor. This is, Mendelssohn channeling Bach again, but the Walpurgisnacht. I mean, it's related thematically to the Scottish Symphony, and if you don't know it, you really need to. It's glorious. Fabulous. So that's nice to have. It's a very beautiful performance, too, of it again. Another really seriously cool thing here is this disc, which I always had in my collection and enjoyed. Honegger, The Dance of the Dead. This is a sort of for speaker, baritone, soprano, alto, organ, choir, and orchestra on a poem by Paul Claudel. And his Christmas cantata, which is just delicious, one of the great unknown Christmas works. This is a fabulous disc, fabulous in every possible way. And you really need to hear it. The performances are wonderful, and you're not going to have a lot of competition for it. The Christmas Cantata, yes. The Dance of the Dead, not so much. Okay, Brahms, German Requiem. Oh, just what we needed, another one of these, with Christa Goetze and Werner Lechter, and the Ensemble Vocal and Instrumental de Lausanne. Okay, it's sort of like the other one. It's a little lighter in tone. Tempi are quite similar. I'm not sure that anyone needed that, frankly. Louis Vierne, Robert Alain, and Jean Langlais, Sacred Music. The Vierne Messe Solennelle in C-sharp minor for 4 mixed voices and 2 organs. What do you do with the other one? I listened to it. It was hard to tell that there were like 2 organs riffing on each other. I don't know. And then we have the Mass in Honor of St. Louis for 4-part choir, unison choir, and 2 organs. And Jean Langlais for 4 mixed voices and 2 organs. It looks like the double organ thing is a thing. Yeah, so if you're really curious about what you're going to do with 2 organs, this is the way to do it. With Marie-Claire Alain on 1 organ and André Louis. Well, it's the other organ is a positive organ. It's a little hooch. It's like a harmonium. It's a little thing. So I'm being facetious. It makes sense. It really does for what it is. And just when you thought one was enough, we get another Fauré Requiem. This one is with, Magali Dami, soprano, and Peter Harvey, baritone, with Lausanne forces again. You also get the Cantique de Jean Racine. Verbe galant trésor, cette unique espérance. I sang that. I believe it or not, I did actually in a high school choir with a terrible conductor. We changed the words to Vous ne conduisez pas un sac de pommes de terre. Anyway, and then we had motets. Let's see, a bunch of motets by Fauré and the Messe basse. The Messe basse, which is lovely, lovely, lovely. This I like better than his other Fauré Requiem, quite frankly. I really, really like having these other works on the disc. Then we've got, let's see, what's this thing? Puccini, the Messe di Gloria. Yeah, okay. And the Poulenc Gloria. Okay, so that's nice. It's worth having. We don't need 2 of the Puccinis. Some of the duplication of repertoire is, it's what the labels are doing, right? It gets a little bit kooky. Haydn's St. Cecilia Mass. Absolutely marvelous. A big, huge, big cantata mass in the B minor mass tradition sort of thing. It's 66 minutes long. This is a lively, beautiful performance, very well sung with, who's singing here? Brigitte Fournier, Bernarda Fink, Charles Daniels, Marcos Fink, and the Gulbenkian people. What a great piece. I mean, the first time I heard that, I went ooh, wow. It's early Haydn, but it's major, major stuff. Okay, Mendelssohn, religious works. We've got 3 sacred pieces, Opus 23, and Psalm 55, which we've already heard, and 3 other psalms, 2, 43, and 22, and sacred songs. Another beautiful disc of Mendelssohn sacred music, which is one of the outstanding features of the whole set. Okay, Verdi Requiem. Well, it's all on 1 disc. That's probably the best thing I can say about it, actually. The soloists are adequate, but not more. We have Angela Maria Blasi, Ursula Kunz, Reinaldo Macias, tenor, and David Pittman Jennings, bass. And this is with the Gulbenkian people, and it's just not competitive. Who are we kidding? Really, I mean, he got to do it. He did it. He deserved to be able to do it. Now we've got something more interesting. João Domingos Bom Tempo, whose dates were 1775 to 1842. Requiem in the memory of Luis Vaz de Canos in C minor. This is a novelty, and thus worth having, I must say. Then we've got another Mozart Requiem. Okay, fine. And then at last, the Soupe Requiem. Now, this is fun, another novelty. And this is another Gulbenkian production. Again, if you go through this, now that's all 36 discs. And if you go through them all, I am now going to reassemble this set somehow, you will note that, the Faurés are good performances. They really are. It's a gentle work, and it suits Corboz quite well. The Mendelssohn stuff is all worth having, even the big oratorios, auf Deutsch, if you want them that way. I can't complain about that. But, we don't need the Mozart Requiems. We don't need the Verdi Requiem. We don't need multiple recordings of the Puccini Messa di Gloria, although one is nice. But a lot of this stuff is unusual. To the extent that it is, we're in good shape. To the extent that it isn't, there's better competition. That's the way it works. There's enough here for me to certainly want this box. And if I had the earlier one to complete my Corboz discography, this is definitely worth having. But that's up to you. There may be too much other stuff in here that you just don't need to justify the expense. And I respect that decision completely. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.